This story recapped is about a ship, a sailing ship called Poseidon. And it is very large enough to have many floors. And today many people come on this ship. Everyone was very happy because today is the night of December 31st. That means New Year starts from tomorrow. Here, someone is having a party on this ship, someone is playing cards, someone is dancing. Then we see the ship's control room, where the captain suspects something is wrong. He says something must be wrong. And then he sees that the very big and high wave coming towards their ship from the front. Seeing this, all the captains get very scared and quickly try to turn the ship around. They manage to turn it around, but the wave was so great that a moment ago the moon could be seen behind it. But it completely hid behind this wave, which meant the wave was much bigger than their ship. He then announces that there will be a very big problem on the ship. An accident happens, so all passengers and officers are on full alert. As soon as it is announced, there is chaos, and then a high wave hits their ship. The pressure is so high that the Poseidon, which is such a large ship, is completely upside down in the sea. That means the top went down. That is, it became the ground and the floor rose. Once the ship turns, it's obvious that things are falling and breaking. Many people are killed by drowning in the sea. In addition, there is also a very large explosion in the engine room. All the captains who steered the ship also die because of it. Now in the ship's hall, where there were the most people, an officer arrives and tells them we have good news and bad news. The bad news is that our ship has been hit by a very large tsunami. This caused him to completely flip over, so no one gets out of here. And the good news is that our officers, minutes before the wave hit, they informed the rescue team that saves everyone in bad times. So they will come here soon with helicopters. So everyone should be completely relaxed. We'll be out of here very soon. Now let's look at a man named Dalen. He took out the necessary things from the dead officer lying in front of him. A child comes to him and asks, "What are you doing?" To which Dalen says, "I'm getting ready to get out of here." The child says that you can't leave here. The ship was now said to have turned upside down. Dalen says, "But there's a way to get out of here, and that's down, for which it is obvious that I will have to go up." As soon as he starts to leave here, the child brings his mother here, and because Dalen has already met the mother, then she knows him. His mother asks Dalen what you told him you can leave here. To that he says, "Yes, I know about the way." The child's mother says, "Did you hear what the officer said? That we have to wait here, help is coming. The ship has turned upside down, so no one can leave." Meanwhile, another man, Robert, and an old man arrive. The old man says that I am an architect, that is, the designer of everything, specialist in the manufacture of various things, who knows boats and ships very well. And I don't think this boat was built to float upside down. This means that he will lie in such water and sink, which will kill us all. Now the other man, i.e. Robert. Dalen asks, "Do you know the way to the disco?" Dalen says yes, he is above, but in this situation. "Why do you want to go to the disco? Do you want to dance?" Robert says, "No, my daughter is stuck there. I want to go with you too. But first I will save my daughter and then we will take her and get out of here." Dalen says, No, it can't be because I do my work alone." Then Robert asks him, "Well, tell me the shortest way to get up from here," which he says, "As soon as I know, I'll tell you," which proves that Dalen wants out of here, but he doesn't know the way. Then Robert calls the man from the boat and asks him, which is the shortest way to get up from there. Then he begins to explain the way to him by means of signs. Robert tells him, "I will give you double what you earn in a month. Just take us there." The man agrees to this, so now he will also go with Robert. Robert then tells Dalen, "Listen to me. If you have a plan, then we have a guide to tell us about each place. So if we all go together, then our lives can be saved. If we go apart, we may die." To which Dalen finally agrees. After that, all the people gather to go to the lower part of the ship. We know that the bottom of the ship is towards the top. That's why they went there and went there. We're about to leave the road where there are big fans that steer the ship and take it forward. But when people were leaving the hole, all the doors there were closed to keep the water out, even though there was already a lot of water. The windows and doors there were so tight that no more water got in. They were constantly moving forward to somehow get to the bottom of the ship and get out of there so their lives can be saved. But after they go a little further, their entire path is closed, because before them the corpses of many people are large, whereupon they open the elevator doors. The elevator is very high from there, then with a very large iron bar. They get to the front door so they can open it and get out. But even after much effort the door will not open from them. But the elevator door on the upper floor will open anyway. Then people help themselves and get out of the way and come to the elevator. But still two people were behind, an old man and a guy on guard of a ship. And when these people climbed up here, the path of the iron rod below them slides and falls. It then hangs from the side of the elevator path. They can't even touch it because there was a deep ditch. And if they fall, they just die. But the trouble wasn't lessened by hanging around here, because the elevator that was at the top was also slowly descending, which if it should collide with both, then their death is certain. Now Dylan is holding the old man's hand, while the guide hangs and holds the old man's leg. Dylan tries to pull him up, but the weight was too much, so he fails at that. Then Dylan sees that the elevator is about to fall from above, so he tells the old man to throw away the guide somehow. Leave him or you will die too. Then the old man doesn't want to go, but bumps his leg and drops it down, which causes the guide to die. Then once Dylan pulls the old man out, the elevator barely goes down, due to which there is a big explosion and fire spreads everywhere. So Dylan and Robert quickly close their elevator doors, and now one of them is killed. Now there are 5 people left, after which they will start moving forward again. After they go a little far, they get a disco, where Robert's daughter and her daughter's boyfriend get 2 more people. That means they got a total of 4 people, which means they are now 9. And now he must get to the upper part of the ship as soon as possible, because this ship will sink now that people have moved forward. The road closes again, and if these people want to go to the other side, then they will kill them there. There was a broken iron railing. With his help, they can cross over to the other side. Dylan then asks him if anyone knows of any other way to get out of there. Now the girl who has been hiding on this ship for many days, because she didn't have a ticket. He tells them that I have been living on this ship for many days. I know everything here except this. There is no other way to get out of here. 5 people climb the railing one by one and start to climb out, where 5 people slowly make it to the other side. Then the robot says to his daughter, now come you son, go to the other side. But then a drunkard who met him at a discotheque comes here. He says I will come first, and then when it starts going, it happens in the middle. Then a large part of the engine falls over it, causing the drunkard and the railing to break with him. Now, along with this part of the engine, a lot of oil also falls into the water. Sparklers were already falling there, so there is fire in the water. Now the drunkard was dead, so there were 8 left. But only 5 people went to the other side where they had to go, while Robert, his daughter and Dylan were still stuck there. There was fire in the water, they couldn't go this way, because the railing also broke when the engine fell. Now Dylan ties the rope to the tube and goes into the water, for he knows that there is water below, where fire cannot even touch him. That's why he goes down and gets to the other side. There he ties the other end of the rope to the pipe, from which Robert and his daughter are also descended, from which 8 of them are saved and start to climb again. Now Dylan knew everything because there was a time when he worked in the Navy. He left the Navy but still had a lot of information about the ship. Now the hall scene is shown where all the people were waiting for help. Everyone looks very nervous, because the strong glass also cracked due to the water pressure. And as the glass breaks, a lot of water comes under pressure, in which all will drown and all will die. They could do nothing but scream at the last moment. The 8 people also hear their screams and understand that all the poor people have died. But at this time, where these people were, there also water begins to flow. But now there is no way to get out of here. Then they open a small vent that was small, and says it's the only way out. But since the place was closed, only one person could go at a time. That's why these people start advancing one by one. Robert is upstairs and Dylan is downstairs. And as the people move forward, they see that water began to come from below. Because of this, water will now start coming into the ventilation as well. Then when people reach the end of the vent, they see that there is a net, which Robert tries hard to open. But he can't open it because there was a nut on it and his hand didn't go from there either. That's why he tells the girl to come, son, hurry up. Then the next moment he calls the girl to him and asks everyone who has a coin or something made of iron with which we can open the nut, on which the girl who was with him, who lived without a ticket, removes the cross locket from her neck and says that these people may be able to open a nut with it. Then the child takes the cross and slowly begins to open the nut, for his hands were short and reached the nut. But here the water was rising, and since Dylan was at the bottom and was about to drown, then thankfully a net opens up, making everyone quickly exit one by one. In this way Dylan's life is also lost, and now he only had to climb 2 floors. Then all their lives will be saved. But when these people continue, they get stuck in the tank. They can't go down because that's where the water is coming from. They could not go forward because there was no way out, except for a small road that was heavily closed. That's why Dylan explains to them that the place where we're standing is like a tank, where water is filled to keep the ship balanced. And when it is completely filled with water, this small path will open, through which all the water goes to the second tank. And now that we have to get out of here, then we will have to fill this tank so that when it is full, water goes into the second tank after opening the door. We can survive after this. Robert's daughter is very nervous and says that if the door does not open even after filling with water, and what happens when we break our breath in the middle, To which Dylan, in anger and anguish, replies that he doesn't know. But apart from that, we have no other way. So here Robert and Dylan decided to fill this tank with water. After that, they slowly start pouring water into it. Now, once the tank is filled with water, but the door still doesn't open, which makes all these people very disappointed. But the next moment that door suddenly opens, and all these people come to the second tank with water pressure. Now these people escape from that tank, but the trouble still did not subside, because they have to swim to the other side to get out. Then everyone takes a deep breath and tries to get to the other side. Here at the very end was a girl who had been hiding in this ship for a long time. As she went forward, her clothes got caught in the wire. That's why he gets stuck there. Although the old man rescues and raises her, but then her breath breaks, meaning she's dead. After that, 7 people remain and they start moving again. Now these people get on the floor where the big fans are, where he has to get out of. But once they get here, they see that there is a lot of water, on which a dead body floated. When Dylan sees this, he is very sad. Then she looks at his face and asks the child, "What happened, Dylan? Why are you sad?" In which Dylan says that the part where we had to leave is submerged in water. We can't even get there because it's very far and the water is rising. Hearing this, Robert says we should go to higher ground. Unfortunately, there is no other way to get out of it. Robert says, "Thank you, you tried hard to save us all. But maybe it's written in our destiny that we die on this ship. And everything is not under the control of a human being anyway." But then there is a big explosion in the engine room there. Thanks to this, all the water that was filled leaves from there, and in this way it also flows out of the water from which it must depart. That is, where there were big fans. Then another problem appears in front of them, and that the fan was still spinning by itself. The bigger problem was that it wasn't straight, but he was spinning in the opposite direction. Because of this, the air pressure was towards them, which meant that even if he throws something at it, he won't go towards the fan and come back to them. Then Robert gets a map on which he finds that the control room is just below these fans, where these fans can be closed. The control room is 150 feet away and going there means death. But despite this, Robert was ready to go there. When his daughter's friend saw it, he says, "You can't go there. Let me go because I can go there and close these fans too." Right away he was ready to go there to shut up the fans. But because of his departure, Robert's daughter is crying. He forbids him to go. Then her boyfriend says it's necessary to go. Someone will have to go. And now he sees his daughter crying. Robert submerges himself in the water and starts moving towards the control room. Then we see that Dylan is not here because the little boy drowned in the water, which Dylan and his mother were looking for. The baby is found very soon, which also saves Dylan. He then returns to the same place where the other people were. But the problem was that the water was increasing here too. And if they don't turn off the ventilators or get out of here, they also drown and die. There, Robert gets into the control room and tries to shut down the ventilators. But he sees that the button from which the fans were supposed to close is broken. And at the same time, Robert is holding his breath. He suffers because of it. He was about to die. Then he sees the button from which the fans are reversed. This means that the direction of the fans can be changed. And a few seconds before he dies, he presses a button and dies, meaning that Robert gave his life to save them all. Dylan sees that the fans still won't shut up. So in fear she says, "Why is it still running? Why isn't it closing?" And then a friend of Robert's daughter sees things that used to come to us. This means that the air pressure was on our side. Now it is reversed. That's why he tells Dylan that Robert turned the fans. So now we can throw things and close the engine. We can stop the fans. He then gives a very large cylinder to Dylan. Dylan throws such a cylinder towards the fans, causing a very large explosion. This causes the engine to stop and the fans to finally break. Then they leave that path, and one by one this ship sinks into the water from Poseidon, and quickly boards the small ship that arrived from Poseidon. Because there are many such boats on ships. As they all step on it, Poseidon begins to fall towards them. Therefore, everyone starts using the oars of the ship. And then Poseidon, who was supposed to fall on them. They've come a long way from that. The Poseidon, which was a very large ship, was sailing a few hours ago on very calm water, and was completely submerged in water. He then shoots flares, that they are seen by the rescue team that went to save them. After a while, the rescue team saves them to all, and in this way the lives of these 6 people are saved. And so the story recap ends.